Hello and welcome to another Pantyhose talk. Today we're going to be talking about stockings. In our pursuit to catalog every type of hosiery, pantyhose, whatever you want to call it. And today go, we get to the granddaddy of them all, stockings. I know stockings and pantyhose are different, but it'll be easy to say without stockings. They won't be pantyhose, and so we're gonna learn about them. Today I'll be using the combination of wiki, good old wiki, and a site called cosmeticsandskins.com. So let's get right into it.
Do you still think the nicest thing about Suppose stockings is what they do for your legs? Well, just wait till you see what Suppose does for your ego. New Suppose sheerness. New Suppose colors. Do things for your spirits that shouldn't be kept waiting. Suppose stockings. Great for your ego.
Historically, even though the word stock is at least as Asian in origin, what men normally wore were often referred as stockings, probably especially when referring to longer hose. The word stock used to refer to the bottom stump of part of the body, and by analogy, the word was used to refer to one piece covering the lower trunk and limbs of the 15th century, essentially tights consisting of the upper stocks, later to be worn separately as knee breeches, and nether stocks, later to be worn separately as stockings. Before the 1590s, stockings were made of woven cloth. The first knitting machines were for making stockings. The stockings themselves were made of cotton, linen, wool, or silk. A polished kind called Isili was common, as were those made in the town of Barbet Grand. Sorry, that's a hard word to pronounce. Before the 1920s, stockings, if worn, were worn from warmth. In the 1920s, as hemlines of dresses rose and central heating was not widespread, women began to wear flesh-colored stockings to cover their exposed legs. Those stockings were sheared, first made of silk or rayon, then known as artificial silk, and after 1940 of nylon. The introduction of nylon in 1939 by chemical company DuPont began a high demand for stockings in the United States, with up to 4 million pairs being purchased in one day. Nylon stockings were cheap, durable, sheer, compared to their cotton and silk counterparts. When America entered World War II, DuPont ceased production of nylon stockings and retooled their factories to produce parachutes, airline cords, and rope. This led to a shortage of the creation of the creation of a black market for stockings. At the end of the war, DuPont announced that the company would return to producing stockings, but could not meet demand. This led to a series of disturbances in American stores known as the Nylon Riots, until DuPont was able to increase production. A precursor of pantyhose made an appearance in the 1940s and 1950s, when film and theater productions had stockings sold in the briefs of actresses and dancers. According to actor, singer, dancer Ann Miller, and seen in popular films such as Daddy Longlegs, today stockings are commonly made of knitted wool, silk, cotton, or nylon. The introduction of commercial pantyhose in 1959 gave an alternative to stockings, and the use of stockings declined dramatically. A main reason was the trend towards higher hemlines or on dresses. In 1970, US sales of pantyhose exceeded stockings for the first time, and has remained this way ever since. Beginning in 1987, sales of pantyhose started a slight decline due to newly invented hole tops, but still remain the most sold kind of hosiery.
When it was dapper to be a flapper, silk stockings were in their full glory. presto, once again the old gave way to the new, to nylon stockings. But even then, people wanted improvements, wanted something better. And they're getting it today with new stretch nylon stockings, the answer to the public's demand for new things, better things, more beautiful things. Great as these stretch stockings are, even here, there's room for improvement. Wanted, a new sheer stretch yarn with a new high standard of quality for both full-fashioned and seamless stockings. Here's how you can sell the big traffic that's coming your way. Tell your customers that like good perfume, stockings of Agilon stretch yarn have to be worn to be appreciated. Tell your customers what the beauty zone and comfort zone mean. Show them how stockings of Agilon yarn provide more beauty in the beauty zone and more comfort in the comfort zone. And don't forget to tell them Agilon yarn is the one sheer stretch nylon yarn for both seamless and full fashion.
Benefits and drawbacks. Stockings are still sometimes preferred to pantyhose in North American English for a number of reasons. They may include the perception that stockings and the associated use of gartered lace, high fashion, applique, and the exposure of the tie are more aesthetically pleasing or sexually attractive and alluring than pantyhose. Both stockings and pantyhose, in being sheer, share the advantage of being quick drying compared to trousers. Spare pairs are also easy to carry if they are ruined. If latter, they can all be replaced at one time, which provides a cost advantage over tights. However, stockings have a drawback in colder weather because more skin is exposed to cold compared to pantyhose. Also, pantyhose do not require garter belts or garter belts, and this is why you layer. If you remember my other video, this is why if you want to use some stockings in the cold, just put some pantyhose under and some stockings over, and bam, you got layered, and you get to wear a nice layered look with stockings in the winter. Support. Stockings can be held up in one of three ways: a garter belt, or suspender belt, or suspenders. It's the second most common way of holding up stockings. It's a piece of underwear worn around the waist like a belt, but under the clothing which has suspenders or stays that clip to the tops of the stockings. Hold-ups are the most common means of support. The inside of the top of the stockings has a band, typically silicone or elastic or highly attractive material that sits slipping down the tie. Third, a garter is the least common means of support. It'll slip over the top of the stocking to hold the stocking by essentially clamping to the leg. These are the garters typically worn by a bride at her wedding. They have similar advantages and disadvantages to stay-ups. Terminology. In modern using, stocking specifically refers to the former hosiery configured as two pieces, one for each leg, except for American and Australian English, where the term can be a synonym for pantyhose. In terms of hold-ups and thigh-highs, refers to stockings that stay up throughout the use of a built-in elastic. While the word stockings is a general term or refers to the kind of stockings that need suspender belt, garter belt in American English, are quite distinct from tights or pantyhose, American English. Yeah, this is where we get into different terminologies about what's a pantyhose and what's stockings. So I'm just going to list down the different types of stockings. Other terms used with stockings include Cuban heel, a stocking with heels made with folded over sewn reinforcement. Demi-toe, stockings which have reinforced toe and half the coverage on top of the bottom. This result in the reinforcements that cover only the tip of the toe as opposed to the whole toe. These can be with or without a reinforced heel. Denier? I thought that's okay. The lower the denier number, the sheer the garment. Stockings knitted with high denier tend to be less sheer but more durable. Fishnets? Okay, this list is weird. I'm just listing what Wiki says, so bear with me. Knitted stockings with a wide. Oh, I guess there could be fishnet stockings. Okay. Knitted stockings with a very wide open knit resembling a fishnets. Football stockings, well, okay, typically made out of heavy cotton or a thick, durable synthetic fiber that reaches the knee. Full fashion. Full fashion stockings are knitted flat. The material is then cut, and the two sides are then united by a seam up the back. Usually, fashion stockings were the most popular style into the 1960s. Okay? Hold ups, British English, or stay ups. Stockings are held up by a sewn in elastic bands, quite often a wide lace top band. In the US, they are referred as tie highs. Knee highs, stockings that terminate or just barely below the knee, also known as half stockings, trouser socks, or socks. Matted, stockings which have a dull or non-leisure finish. Mock seam, a false seam sewn into the back of the seamless stockings. Nude heel, stockings without reinforcements in the heel area. Okay. Opaque, stockings made of yarn which give them a heavier appearance, usually 40 denier or greater. Point heel, in a fully fashioned stocking, it is a heel in which is reinforced part ends in a triangular shape. RHT, abbreviation of reinforced heel and toe. Okay. Open toe, stockings that stop at the base of the toe with a piece that goes between the first and second toe and to hold them down. This can be worn with some open toe shoes, especially the show off pedicure toes. Okay. Sandal foot, stockings with a nude toe, meaning no heavier yarn in the toe than is in the leg. They are intended to be worn with sandals or open-toe shoes. Seam stockings, stockings manufactured in the old-fashioned manner with seaming running up the back of the leg. In the past, they were manufactured by cutting the fabric and then sewing it together. Seamless, stockings knit in one operation of circular machines, one continuous operation, so that no seaming is required up the back. Okay. Sheer stockings, generally up to 15 to 20 denier. Stocking feet, shoeless feet covered by stockings or socks. Suspender belt, British English, or garter belt, American English. A belt with straps to keep stockings, not hold-ups, on place. Usually they have 4 straps, but they also have 6 to 8. I think I have one of those. Okay. Ultra sheer, a fine denier fabric which gives the ultimate in sheerness, usually 10 denier. Welt, a fabric knitted separately and machine sewn to the top of the stockings, knit in a heavy denier yarn and folded double to give strength for support fastening. Wow, that's a lot of type of stockings. Now I just want to read a little bit about from cosmeticandskins.com. It's about the war. If you any nylon lover knows that during the war there was a need for nylon, and one of the things asked by the government was for females to give up their stockings. So let's read about that. This is from cosmeticsandskins.com. Stockings and the war. Although most nylons was used to make stockings, some was bought by the American military to replace silk in the manufacture of parachutes. When the United States entered the war, DuPont shifted nylon production to a war footing, and production was channeled into national defense for things like parachute, bomber, trains, and supplies of nylon for stockings. Dried up. Silk stockings were also unavailable, as trade with Japan has ceased, and the American Army had reconstructed all stores of silk for parachutes, munitions, and other military uses. Although nylon and silks were scarce, American women were not badly off, as they still had access to rayon or cotton stockings. Across the Atlantic, where supplies were most limited and clothing rationed for extreme, the stocking situation was much worse. Women in England were issued with 60 clothes coupons per year, and stockings took 2 of those plus cash. Wow. As silk and nylon stockings vanished from the shelves, women looked to alternatives. Depending on the occasion, what was available, the degree of patriotism, and their economic situation, they substituted with stockings made from other fibers. Wore socks, covered their legs with trousers, went barelegged, or used leg up, also known as combative stockings, liquid stockings, bottle stockings, and phantom hose. And yeah, that's about it about I would like to call the granddaddy of hosiery of pantyhose. And I hope you liked it, and as always, keep on wearing.
Other busy little wheels were spinning too. And nothing did more to brighten the post-war scene than the reconversion of the hosiery industry. Nylons were back, sheer, delicate, durable nylons, and the stampede was on. Stores had to impose quotas on sales to prevent outright mayhem in the aisles. And when promoters gave away free samples, rioting in the streets, the law of the jungle. A man with a pair of new nylons in his pocket was better off than a GI in Germany with a hat full of chocolate bars. There were casualties and walking wounded, but it came out all right in the end. Came out perfectly grand, in fact. Peace was getting more wonderful all the time. Then along came a Frenchman, and down came the hemlines. The new look was here, dreamed up by a newcomer on the fashion scene named Christian Dior. Small thanks he got from the boys. Another French creation, the bikini, named after the atomic explosion in the Pacific. The bikini was an explosion everywhere. Scholars trace the style back 1,500 years, but it was still a revelation.